Welcome back to Automate 2024. Here we are at the Siemens booth, and they're going to show us a cool platform in the way that you can program your PLCs.
That's right.
Go ahead, Daniel, and explain to us.
Yeah, so today we're going to show SIMATIC AX. It is a automation and engineering environment coming from Siemens, really bringing more software development practices into automation engineering. So we're seeing a big shift in the industry from more of your typical controls engineers to people with software backgrounds, right? So software engineer majors, computer science majors coming out of school and getting into the automation space. So how do we get them into the automation space with the familiar tools and processes and really make that transition easier?
Yep.
So we're entering into here to SIMATIC AX. So as you can see here, this is our PLC programming environment. This looks like VS Code, right? So something very familiar for a lot of those majors coming out of school.
Yep.
VS Code is already familiar for those people. And we're bringing in a lot of those methodologies from software development that they would already expect. So object-oriented programming, unit testing, source control, continuous integration pipelines, things that you would want to have in the processes that those guys are familiar with. So we have things too, everything is text-based within this platform, so you can program your PLC. But even from the hardware configuration and software side of things, monitoring, diagnostics, a lot of configuration files are just strictly text-based. So what does that mean? We're going to be able to source control very easily. We have native Git integration here as well.
Okay.
So again, a big topic here this week has just been how do I do change tracking over time with this? So that has been a big process, or a big plus. I mean, whether you want to use Git or Subversion or whatever source control platform you want to use, we can support it here.
And what do you mean by a source control platform?
So pretty much being able to take a file and track your changes over time.
Oh, okay,
So,
gotcha.
Yes, so if I want to, and if you think of GitHub, that's what a lot of people associate with that, right?
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be, but that's the most common one. If I have 5 different people working on a program, an automation program,
Yep.
and to be able to keep those changes in place and merge those changes together as people work, a source control platform is needed for that.
Yeah. So like whenever it comes to like code development,
Yeah.
a lot of times in your traditional like PLC code development, you could have multiple programmers working on one piece of code.
Yes.
Right. It's something that we don't see very much in the automation sector and PLC sector, and this really gives like the ability to like work more efficiently and be able to execute more quickly, because a lot of times, for systems integrators like us, like you're on a crunch, you're on a deadline, you have to, and whenever, like, let's say for instance there's bugs in the system, instead of having one programmer just working on this bug, and then he has to go from this bug to this bug to this bug, you can deploy 5 programmers to work on all 5 different bugs in one go.
Exactly, yeah. There's a huge benefit there. And if you do happen to step on each other's toes, you have your merging capabilities within Git. So that really simplifies the process. And then if you're able to push up to GitHub, or to push up to any source control system too, you're able to take advantage of those continuous integration pipelines for continuous integration and continuous deployment. So again, everything that you see on the screen here, from our build platform to monitoring, trace diagnostics, things like that, are CLI based. So it's CLI first in this platform. So not only can I perform the actions here, but I can also do it in the terminal. So what does that give you when you think about continuous integration? Well, I can continuously, if I have 5 people working on this program, I can continuously push my code up to my source control repository. And when that kicks off, I can do a pull request. I can kick off a build and kick off my unit testing to validate, hey, did I break something? So I can test that often, test it early, and ensure that we are still on the right track as a lot of people are working on the project.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what are some other features that we can do here inside of this software?
Yeah, so this is a standalone feature for SIMATIC AX, so it's complete engineering of your PLC, from hardware configuration to programming, commissioning, service, and maintenance as well. So we're trying to handle the entire workflow there.
Gotcha.
But if you don't want to get into that specifically, we have our other engineering platform for Siemens PLCs is TIA Portal.
Yep.
So we can do a library development here to pretty much wrap up logic. So if you want to standardize some of your code and you still have a lot of controls engineers that are working in TIA Portal,
Gotcha.
you can write a library within ST. And again, we use IC standard structured text here, which gives you that object-oriented programming. Bundle that up and provide it to in a library to TIA Portal.
Gotcha. So like with something like this, you can write like maybe a more complex piece of code that's like I wouldn't say impossible inside of a PLC, but maybe it's like it's very convoluted to do in a PLC.
Yes.
Maybe vision operations, different things like that. Package it, install it into the PLC, and then be able to just run that piece of code as like a function.
Right, yeah, and the object-oriented approaches. I mean, just being able to model those things in a little bit more of an intuitive way, and in a way that people are familiar with, is a big advantage there as well.
Yep.
And I'm going to show some graphing capabilities. Again, we have graphing capabilities for cycle consistent data within your PLC as well, and monitoring. And again, just trying to provide the best environment that we can for those folks to be comfortable in to get into automation. And again, this is extensible, so it's a Siemens product. However, we're based on Visual Studio Code, so it's extensible still. So you can work the way you want to work with third-party extensions out of this, which is a big deal because I use many different things, even from Git integration that we're using within this with GitLens, or code formatters with Prettier. There's a lot of different things that you can do, different theming, so it makes it flexible.
Gotcha. So like within this code, there's no like special syntax. It's all.
And then besides the structured text itself for PLC programming, nothing specifically different with anything that you'd see as far as your code formatters or anything that code editors.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I can see something like that being very, very interesting, especially like into the future, and maybe more platforms start to come up with develop a system like this, that maybe like even converting code, like if you wanted to go from like an Allen Bradley PLC to a Siemens PLC, that you'd be able to convert to that PLC more easily.
Yeah, and that's something we talk about as far as code, like going from even from like internal Siemens products from STL to ST. How do you have that conversion? Hopefully there's AI opportunities in the future for code conversion. That's something we're talking about.
Yeah, and another big thing to point out is as AI develops over the next couple of years, AI is going to get the most development on structured text type of languages like this, where people are, they're working at Google. There's thousands, hundreds of thousands of engineers who are doing, computer programming and training these AI models and stuff like that to get better at programming tasks. The horizon to be able to do ladder logic is going to be much further out into the future, because there's a lot less developers there. It's going to take a company to come in and develop some type of interface of like, how do we take this ladder logic and get a language model or something like that to understand it.
Exactly.
Whereas it automatically is going to be able to understand this.
It's a flat file, plain text, and get a lot of advantages from that, just from an AI perspective, from training perspective, from source control across the board.
Yeah, this is like kind of a cool insight. A little bit off topic, but I took a FANUC program. I downloaded it as an LS file, text file, right? Was able to feed it to like a ChatGPT type of language model, and I just told ChatGPT, I'm about to give you some robot code from a FANUC robot. Tell me what the program's doing. And so I just uploaded the text, and it was able to come back and says, this is a homing program that is able to identify where the robot's located at in space, and then be able to perform paths home to get to home. And I was like,
just with basic models of ChatGPT.
Yep.
Really. So it's powerful, especially if you have those specialized models later.
Yeah.
It can be really cool.
Yeah, things are gonna get crazy. So I think it's gonna be super innovative and being able to utilize some of the like AI tools and stuff that are coming into the future.
We hope so.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hey,
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.